Hello, I'm so glad you're here today. Today, I'm going to interview a woman who, frankly, when I looked at her, I almost cried because you can see the glow of Christ in her. Well, we'll be right back. Hi, I'm so glad you came back today. I have a special guest. Her name is Mae Bell Stringer. Now, Mae Bell married my cousin. So we're cousin-in-laws, bless her heart. And she serves the Lord Jesus Christ with her whole heart and everything that's within her. And we're going to have an interview with her, and she's going to tell us all the inners, all the things that made her stay convicted to Christ. Convicted? Is that the right word? Mae Bell? What do you think? I think that's a beautiful word. I didn't say it right, but Mae Bell is humoring me and letting that go. So Mae Bell, tell us about what kind of job because I understand you worked a lot during these last few years.
I went to nursing school. When we first got married, I was home, and then we had our son, and I stayed home with him most of the time. Just had little odd and end things, Avon, Tupperware, things that I could take him with me. Aww. And then when he went to school, I worked at the school, but then I eventually went to work for an organization that copied medical records, and I transcribed the medical records for lawyers and what have you is what I did at that time. And then I got a job working for civil service. And after that, I was working as secretaries and ward clerks and stuff like that with civil service. So.
And by that time, your son was grown.
Yep, grown and away from home, and yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of sad when they leave the nest. I seriously had empty nest syndrome for a while. I had to be real careful about it.
Did you?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, it wasn't fun for me when he left us, when Desert Storm started. Tom left for Desert Storm one weekend, and I had to bring Quentin back to Dallas the next weekend for college. And then go back to North Carolina and be by myself for 6 months. So it was, but God got me through it. My church family and, work, and I did fine. I'm good. So
good attitude. So speaking of that, was that the worst time you had alone, or what do you think is the hardest time of your life?
That was probably the hardest time of my life. Yeah, for sure. There were other things that went on. My dad got sick at that time and was in the hospital, in and out of the hospital for a while. And it was just, that 6 months was just a difficult time. But it was especially hard because my rock, other than God, was in another place. My human, was in another place.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, your person was not there.
That's right. Yeah, but
I think you're from good stock.
Thank you. I do too.
So, Mae Bell, tell me your first remembrance of knowing there was a God or having a relationship with a God. I mean, I grew up in church, because my father was the pastor. But was there a time you had a sweet relationship, that first time?
I got baptized at 7 years old, and I knew who God was, and I believed in God, and I trusted in God. But I think really when I was about 13 was when I was really became closer to God. At that time, I just realized that I loved him and I needed him, and that I was probably about 13 years old. So yeah, at that time.
And what has been your greatest excitement with God? Something he told you to do, or something, what has been that greatest thing that you feel you'll always remember about God?
I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me. I guess when my son was born, probably, and having a child and knowing I needed to take care of him the way God would want me to take care of him, and the way he needed to be raised, raising him in a Christian home. So
That's excellent. That's an awesome answer because it is our next generation.
yes,
And I think many of us who have children, I tell my children, because my children are 10 years apart, and I tell them that the second child got the one that had caught on and was a better mother. And it makes me often feel sad for the oldest one,
yeah,
because she got me through all the basic camp, that's 6 weeks of camp.
yeah,
Bless her heart, she had to go through all that. So by the time her little brother had come along, I was less uptight about certain things, more strict about other things. So I do feel badly that they were quite so far apart, but that was life.
yeah, yeah.
So what made you decide to go on those mission trips and take on the big work of feeding all those people?
Well, originally I was Tom went on a mission trip on the first one, and he went without me because I was having major surgery in January, and I didn't want to go to Mexico and get sick and not be able to have my surgery.
Right.
So he went with me. I mean, he went by himself the first time, and I just really and truly, and when I was about 13 or 14, I felt God calling me to the mission field, and I just, I never did what I should have done, and so it was almost like him saying, "Okay, you didn't go into the mission field like I wanted you to, but this is an acceptable, what's the word? This is acceptable. I want you to start doing this." And so we just started going. We went every Christmas for years, and we started in '99. He started in '99. I started in 2000. We went every Christmas till 2010, and started going in the summer occasionally. And at first, I was just a helper. I just helped in the kitchen. And then one day, the lady came to me and said, "I'm getting older. It's time for me to get out of running the kitchen." She said, "I'll help when I can, but I think you're the one that we need to put in that position." And so I accepted the position, and she started training me. And for several years, I did all of the menu planning and buying the groceries and doing all of that stuff. So
Now, when you go to your sewing groups there at the church, what is the goal of those two? Because you go to two different ones, or do you just go twice a week to the same group?
no, we just have one. We just have one.
And in that group, what's that mission?
Well, most of the time it's a quilt group, like a quilt bee.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time we work on our own projects and stuff a lot of times, but I have set aside, they all agreed to it. I don't do anything without discussing it with the rest of the group, but I set aside the third Monday of every month, and we do nothing but mission projects. They can't bring their own work in there because we're going to work on mission projects at that time. And we do things like for Samaritan's Purse Operation Christmas Child, we make jump ropes, and we make little they're called pillowcase dresses because you can use pillowcases to make the dresses. And we make those. We make bags for them. They get a box with the toys and the school supplies in, and we make bags that go inside that box. And then when they open this bag, they can put the box.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Inside the bag to carry it. And it comes out to be fairly helpful, because if they have to go get something for their mom, or, they can use that bag for other purposes other than just, carrying their toys and stuff in. It's something that can be useful to the family.
That's
So
awesome.
we make bibs for the nursing home patients, and we just do different things. So,
Well, that's awesome of you.
well, thank you.
Of you to
But
keep that going, and it is a help to the communities.
it's a whole group. So
Yeah. Now tell me something that you would like to sew, but you've not really done that yet.
I really can't think of anything. I love quilting, and I think quilting would probably have been, but now I've been doing it for so long, but that would have been the hardest thing for me. It was the hardest thing for me to get into. I just did not want to quilt. My mother-in-law quilted, and Tom would say, you need to learn how to quilt. Nope, don't want to do it. Not going to do it. And so I started going to the quilt bee and taking my crochet with me. And the next thing I knew, they had me pulled in hook, line, and sinker. And I love every minute of it.
Can you tell me approximately how many quilts you've made?
Oh, approximately, I would say 50 or 60. So in the last 10, 12 years. So yeah. From baby quilts to king size.
Oh, how sweet. That's amazing. Okay. Now, Mae Belle, what do you wish I'd ask you? What's inside of you that you would like to tell this audience that I wasn't smart enough to think of? What would you like to tell this audience?
Yes. You were supposed to think of those
I like to laugh.
Gosh, that's a hard one, Jackie. What would I like to talk about? I don't know. Just pretty much we've covered everything that I like to talk about. My husband, my quilting, my crochet. I enjoy doing things for people. I'm always making stuff for people, crocheting and stuff like that. I like to do little crochet projects that don't take very long, and I can just hand them out to people willy-nilly, and
Sweet as that.
that kind of stuff. So
Mae Belle, earlier you and I we were discussing marriage. I would like for you to say that statement in this video, because everyone won't see all 3 videos that we are doing. And what you said about marriage was so powerful. I wondered if you would just say that little part again.
I may not say it exactly the same.
It doesn't have to be. It's your heart.
Okay. I just think it's very important for a couple to be equally yoked, to be both of you to love God and to want to serve God. I just think that's really important to be in love with God, to be able to trust in Him and know that He's going to take care of you and your marriage.
And so before marriage, did the 2 of you talk about God and your relationship with God?
That was 50 years ago. Probably, yeah. We both knew that we were Baptist, and we wanted to go to Baptist church, and we both agreed we wanted to go to church. We moved around a lot, so it sometimes would take us a while to find a church home that we really liked, but we always loved the ones that we did find. So yeah.
Okay, now do you want to ask me a question?
Sure. Why did you decide you wanted to do this? I mean,
Why I want to do YouTube?
Yeah.
Because I've been a life coach, soon be 17 years. For 17 years, I've been helping people with everything I do is Jesus based. And I've been helping people get out of emotional and spiritual issues, get them out, talk about it, move through it, and get well. I've done one-on-one for years. I've done husband and wives, but then I started doing, you know how that goes. It doesn't, like, I've worked with the Catholic Church here in Bernie, Texas, not the church, the sisters group, and they have been amazing. So on Wednesdays before COVID, we would have a women's meeting every Wednesday from 10 to noon, and sometimes I would have 6, and sometimes we would have 12, and that's been a wonderful time to spend with group sessions. So, and then I've done group sessions in other cities and other states. So I've, and I've made presentations, and I've had some fairly large presentations. So that's been my background in life coaching. And before that, I worked in mid-management in manufacturing. So one of my close friends just started saying to me, it's easy for you to talk. And it is, and especially talking about Jesus, I can talk real good because I like him. We're close. And I just kept saying, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's too much techie stuff. And it just kept bugging me, it's in the back of my head. And then I finally said, God, if you want me to do this, you're going to have to give me confirmation, because my best friend's saying that. Well, she's just my best friend. And about 2 or 3 months after that, I went to dinner with a woman who had been in one of my groups. And she was saying the same thing. You need to be on YouTube. And I was like, oh. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And she's like trying to convince me. And I'm like, no, I'll do it. And she's looking at me like I'm a nut. And I finally said, well, you're the confirmation I asked for. But it took me another year to actually get on YouTube, because the word says we're snared by the words of our mouth. I kept saying negative things, and I kept saying how hard it was to learn, and blah, 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 blah. And the more I said it, the harder it got. And it took me about a year, and finally a young man who's going to, he and his family, his wife and their 5 children, will be leaving in like 2 weeks to go to Italy as missionaries. Cool. And his name is Clay, and Clay Whitehead got this close to my face and challenged me. And I'm trying to say no as the Holy Spirit is all over me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do it. So that's how I finally got off high center. God had to use like 3 different Christians slapping me around before I would do that. And I have to, I need to apologize to God for that. That it took me so, well, I have apologized to him, because I was like, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Cool. When God is there, he's just there, and he's going to help us no matter what. Yep.
Well, I just noticed it's cloudy here now, and it's dark in this room. Can you?
I see you less and less. I mean, I see less of the room.
See? Okay.
But the rain was here about 40 minutes ago, and now it's with you. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to end this interview. I thank you so much for everything you've done for us, for the things you've done for society. And I'm pleased and honored that you are my cousin's wife. I like it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.